I like the pick.
Yeah, it also takes it away from Fudge, who I think was doing really well in the Udyr. We kind of highlighted Fudge, Bwipo, and Impact as like our greatest Udyr enjoyers in terms of being able to push, proxy, go to other lanes, or invade, like help out their junglers, that kind of thing. Really using his lane prowess to take over a side of the map.
And one thing with the milio locked in already for C9 is they're going to try and win bot lane, kind of like they did yesterday. But honestly, yesterday things went really badly for them, and they need to be able to clean this up. So this was from yesterday's game, specifically Berserker on Lucian when they played Lucian milio. You're going to see throughout this clip that Berserker's just a little bit lazy in the lane. There's this huge lane for the hook to go through, and they just don't have the all-in damage at the time. They don't hit level 3 first. They were about a minion late on that. Busio and Masu punished them. That's not a play we typically see from Berserker. And then the second 2v2 kill right here was a bit of an outplay, I believe, by Masu and Busio. If you notice, the sweeper was actually on right here, so it disabled the ward, and I think Masu was able to cancel Berserker's last auto attack. But honestly, even in this last-ditch effort, it still would have been a traded kill, and it was just a bad lane for them. 2v2 double kills that Cloud9 gave up yesterday, and they're running it back. Lucian milio once again, so undeterred by the disaster that happened yesterday.
It kind of backs up what we've been talking a bit about C9, right? Where like in drafting, they're still drafting very confidently, and a lot of the things we've seen coming out from them have been a lot more execution-based.
Yeah, and you should have confidence in Berserker specifically as an AD carry mechanically, and also like just as the duo. If you start to lose confidence and change your drafts because of it, then I would be really worried. So interested to see the run back on this draft. Now they're going up against Aphelios and Lulu, so really do want to see Berserker and Vulcan try and push the 2v2.
And I also think Jojo picking between Orianna and Udyr, if that ends up being the lock-in, need to hold this point just a second. It would just be trying to lock APA into a bit of a control mage mirror. Of the two, I do prefer the Orianna. It used to be that Udyr would get pushed early on Ori. Orianna actually gets pushed on Udyr up until level 6, and then it's just after that that Udyr can get some kill pressure with the gank. So right now, C9 just kind of going power picks across the board and possibly looking to outscale TL, even though the Aphelios Lulu is also a new look for TL as well.
Now jungle going in the 4-5, which we have been seeing pretty regularly. Now C9 being able to get the first jab at it, I think they're going to try and allow themselves. Like, I think you can go a lot of ways. You have Orianna support as a mid laner, so you can go towards a Xin Zhao if you would like to. I think I'm trying to see what you would want to do. Because you're probably going to be ending up going Aatrox anyways on 4 pick. So if that's going to be the case, then I would hold my jungle pick on 5 and just see the full composition first.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about how they do want to snowball bot lane. Jet, I know you really want to see Blaber on something where he can carry. I mean, he would, if they do want to put Blaber on a carry, they also have a lot of protection for him with the milio, and also Ori, who not only has the laning prowess that you pointed out, but also can be a supportive mid as well.
Yeah, I will be honest though, when they pick milio bot, you generally need a bit more of a bruiser or tank jungler, and that will pair well with Orianna, because going up against Udyr even, it is kind of hard to pick a top lane that is going to be effective if you're just trying to pick the sole initiation of your team. So this actually does look like a Rel or Maokai angle based on what C9 has so far, and then it's just going to be about the execution, which has been lacking for them in the previous 3 games.
Rel would be a great ban by TL. If they go Rel here, I think that would be their best pick. Also great combo with Orianna. So it would make sense. They already took away the Jarvan, kind of following your thought process there too. So
could just be the Blaber disrespect as well. He's lost 2 games in a row on Rel. Why not have him run back a 3rd? If they don't ban it, I feel like that's what it would be.
As for Team Liquid, going back, I know we were talking about their constant back and forth between early game and late game scaling compositions. Now that's a Xin ban. So it seems like they want to let Blaber go towards the Rel or Maokai. Honestly, I think you should just go Rel right now, personally.
It's so interesting from Spawn, the TL coach there, with the bans towards Blaber, Nocturne, Jarvan, Xin Zhao, when, if you're just looking at the champions, they're not targeting the priority picks that would be in the composition. They're very, very much banning the player, not the team comp.
Yeah, and also just a little bit of team comp only because like you already pointed out, he would be able to affect bot lane really easily.
Yeah.
It does combo with the Orianna very well. We kind of expected the Aatrox out of Fudge. Instead, it's going to be the Gnar going into that Udyr for him.
I guess it's just an additional dive buddy in general, and probably an easier top lane matchup with the range that you have. Now, problem is you're still going to be dealing with a proxying Udyr, so the wave is still going to be hitting your turret, but it would make sense. We've been seeing a little bit more fleet Gnar as of these days. Oh!
Ziggs time.
Oh!
Super interesting as well. This is what they played in the first game of the split. For APA, it is his comfort and they're in a control mage mirror anyway, so I actually do like the pick here.
And if they do end up locking in the Lee Sin, it's pretty much comfort across the board. Or I know Umti has wanted to play some spicier picks. He is a Lee Sin player. This is one of his favorite picks. You can see he's smiling probably at something else because his draft is pre-recorded, but he's probably happy about the Lee Sin pick as well. And again, Jet, you'd mentioned how we've seen a different look from TL in this bot lane in terms of this season. But if you saw this last season, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's a TL bot lane, because obviously Yeon is a strong Aphelios player.
That's a TL team comp right there.
I love this over, but I don't believe it. I'm just putting that out there.
Orianna Lillia milio is very low engage, but it's also something with it being locked in now. They are going for damage across the board.
Yeah.
It is something Blaber can kind of, carry on, but this also feels like the strategy is everyone win your lane and make the gold lead insurmountable so the overall fit of the team comp doesn't matter.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, Blaber is 6-3 on Lillia, so it's a pick that he has been comfortable on in the past. I'm sure he has a high win rate on most of his champions, but just in general, interesting to see Lillia in this composition. I want to hear the thoughts from the casters on this one. Who do you guys have after the draft?
Thank you. Welcome back. Going into game number 2 of the day, C9 versus TL. Draft pretty fun. So it is the first Lee Sin from Umti in the LCS, but it's his most played all time, 75 games on it in pro play. And you were talking about Lillia and how strong you think this pick is right now, Kobe.
Yeah, I mean, Lillia right now with how strong Leandri's plus Riftmaker is and the champion individually, just power farms through the jungle. And with the changes on the new season, that is exactly, set up for success for Lillia. Plus the walls being a little bit wider, easier to hit those bowling ball seeds. Cloud9 versus Team Liquid. Cloud9 are currently on a 3-game losing streak for this super team that was put back together. They really, really need to put a stop to it right now versus TL.
They absolutely do. And if you've been following it on socials, APA and JoJo are always at each other's throats. So let's hear APA and JoJo's thoughts on each other heading on to this game.
I mean, I think me versus APA is like I feel like I'm just always more useful as a teammate. So I think if I just play my best, I think it should be an easy game. It just depends on how I play. And he's just a Ziggs one-trick, right, APA? So nothing else to say.
I mean, if you think I'm a Ziggs one-trick, then, that's a free ban in the draft. I think the C9 super team is really fake. I don't think they're even going to end top 2.
Oh, well, I mean, then there's this tweet for APA, which is pretty spicy, but how embarrassing would it be when you start in 3 and 4 in 5th place on a super team at Jojopyun? And man, you could call him a Ziggs one trick, but you gave him his one trick.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the weakness of the one trick.
Yeah, you're supposed to ban that. That's the point.
Exactly. Obviously, we already saw Team Liquid, though, earlier in the season. When he did get the Ziggs, he was hard targeted. I believe it was River and Dignitas, or excuse me, 100 Thieves, able to completely demolish him, ganking over and over and over again. So we'll see if Cloud9 want to pay any sort of attention there. I will say Lillia, though, especially early on, is much more about vacuum cleaner the jungle camps rather than to gank so many champions.
Exactly, and the setup's a lot worse as well. Orianna does not have very good setup, so it could be hard. But you also have to touch on is there's Berserker going aggressive with the early ignite, trying to get that trade. The fact that TL, this is the kind of draft that they have been winning with. When they have drafted for full scaling 5v5 team compositions, this is where they have been winning. When they've strayed from that and tried to go aggressive early games and stuff like that, that's actually where they've been failing this split.
Yeah, so far. I mean, especially with the Udyr piece as well. Not only do they have scaling bottom lane with Aphelios Lulu, super nice for later on, but Impact has been so good with this Udyr. I feel like he was the biggest reason by far that they won their game yesterday, even with some of the mid-game plans going awry for them and then losing out in the skirmish up by Grubs. But Impact is just so much with this champion, invading enemy jungle, destroying not only enemy jungle and top, but also their mid.
So I don't know if you know this stat, but do you want to take a guess at how well Udyr is doing record-wise in the LCS this split?
I know that worldwide it wasn't good because people were flaming it.
Yeah.
But I feel like LCS we've been better than the world average.
9-2.
Yeah, way better.
So
we are Udyr gods.
Let's go. Udyr is just kind of crushing in the LCS. As much as there has been, yeah, like you say, a lot of talk around the world, but Udyr's not that good. People shouldn't be building tank, all these things.
They need to watch LCS.
It's kind of just winning. It's kind of just winning here. So, you know, they have to watch out for that. It's Impact on Comfort. Vulcan and Berserker, I feel like there's so many eyes on them for this game. There's been a lot of criticism levied towards them about them not playing well individually, about them not playing well as a duo, and about the Lucian picks. So when you're on a 3-game losing streak and you bring up the Lucian again, you have got to perform or people are going to be on them.
Yeah, especially with their Lost to Fly quest where they had those back-to-back, both members dying multiple times. And the second one even into a big minion wave as well, so completely losing out there. But Jojo was a highlight for them, even in their loss.
Ooh, nice sidestep.
On his Nico, he had multiple really huge plays. So I think Jojo has been a shining star here for the Cloud9 roster, and him being one of the pieces that they added in the offseason as Umti's
looking for that Q. We'll see if he can find it. He does. Sonic Wave connects, not going to take the Resonating Strike in. Blaber was able to sidestep the initial one. I think he got most of the little Raptors there, but still is going to be pushed out, and that's going to mean he loses his Krugs as well. So Umti getting aggressive and is going to be able to take away, you know, a camp and a half or so from Blaber.
Yeah, you're trying to fight your way back versus the Lillia, and they're going to be like, come on, please, let me stay a little bit close, because you know the Lillia is just going to zoom ahead in the camps later on. Always is going to help when you have yourself an Udyr top laner for some extra safety, but yeah, he does a little bit of his part now. I would say that Blaber just goes right back out and steals his Raptors, though, because as well, you kind of pointed it out when Blaber got a lot of the small Raptors, as he might even make a look towards APA. But these small Raptors, if you get all the small ones, it's better than just getting the big one. Because the big one was reduced so much in gold value and experience, collecting all the small ones is actually a dub there. Umti, though, uses that top priority.
Sense to me, you know? Get a lot of little pieces, add them up, stick them all together, they make a mega raptor.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like Transformers, right?
Get a whole box
Lots of little ones.
A whole box of chicken nuggets is better than one rotisserie chicken.
It's true, yeah. If you get enough, there'll probably be a lot of chicken nuggets. But is going to be able to stack up the nuggets. It steals his enemy nuggets away as well, so looking good to cruise on back to his side of the jungle.
Another little thing on the jungler, I'm done with nuggets.
Done with nuggets, okay, my bad.
This is a transition we're in right now.
Okay.
We're transitioning into statistics for jungle champions. Yeah, because the analyst S was bringing it up a little bit, and Emily noted, yeah, you know, Umti is at least an enjoyer. This is in fact his most played champion, 75 games on Lee Sin, and I looked it up for Blaber. This is his first Lillia game, if the stats are to be believed. I will say first pro Lillia game, you know, on stage, because I have seen myself him play it in solo queue, so he definitely is well acquainted with the champion. And of course, we already talked about it's so popular right now, especially for solo queue. And he's already got his mask, working his way towards that Leandries. So we will see how much of a big DPS threat he can be, how impactful of a sleep he can get for the rest of his team to be able to set it up, because sleeps into Orianna shockwaves are one of the like tried and true, you know, really nice setup combinations, make it very easy for Jojo.
Absolutely. We can see TL did that lane swap up towards top. Looks like they're going to be moving back towards bot now. But as we are approaching this halfway point here, this is the final game in the first round robin for these guys in the split. we have to take a look at what the aggregate power rankings were. Both of these teams were considered to be, placed quite high in the standings. I saw some people place TL up as high as second, as third. C9 was agreed upon that they were going to be first. Pretty much everyone, pros, coaches, everyone.
Yeah, we agreed. Me and you, we agreed. We got to take the L.
Yeah, we're in there, and they are now 3-3. So they've got a lot of work to do. We've had some surprising results. Unanimous 8th for Immortals. They've been much more competitive than that. They've gotten some big wins. A lot of these teams down towards the bottom of the standings have been picking up a lot of wins, and some of the teams that were supposed to be up at the top really have not performed.
Yeah, definitely has been a competitive split this year so far for the LCS. A lot of teams surprising, and I'm never gonna get over how loud in the stadium the dragon kill audio is. Scares me a little bit. Bottom lane might be scared a little bit too. Berserker and Vulcan, a lot of eyeballs are on them you were talking about, and now
Q's gonna connect. Nice Q though in response there from Vulcan. Denies the resonating strike coming in there from Umti.
Come on, play-by-play. You mean ultra mega fire kick?
I'm not saying that one.
No? You're just gonna say Q?
Yeah.
All right, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll accept
Also
that.
Breath of Life. That's the only. I like Cozy Campfire too, to be fair. Ultra Mega Fire Kick. That's a bridge too far for me.
Yeah, that's a little bit too much for a quick play there, but it was a nice little knockback from him.
It was a nice little Ultra Mega Fire Kick.
It was. Yeah, you're coming around.
Okay. Yeah, it's got. I'm not gonna say a nice ring to it. It's got something.
Yeah, you're testing it out.
Testing. Yeah. Exactly. We tested the Nugget conversation. Had to move on. This one may have to be left in the past as well. Jojo in trouble. Not going to hit the sweet spot of the ulti there. The early one without that much AP behind it isn't that big of a deal. So APA just looking for that poke though. No TP on Jojo. If you base, this is going to be a lot of damage done to that tower. Ziggs really works through it with that passive auto. Plus he has those early grubs. But Blaber now coming in here. Umti there to support as well. And Jojo is dead So this one could potentially backfire, but Blaber at the very least is going to be able to help Jojo reset the wave and be able to get a clean base off.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because the trash talk between Jojo and APA actually started even before the LCS season started this year. It even started in Champions Queue, and Jojo talking about, you got to drop the Azir, bro. Like, you're not good on it. And APA then, the classic mid laner, well, you can't win without jungle. You're always calling jungle. And I looked at the jungle proximity stats for mid lane in the first couple of weeks, and APA actually was the highest. That has since changed, of course, but both junglers here paying attention to their mid lanes. You're always trying to help them, especially with that wave push out when you're so low. And it looks like it might be a setup here for 6 grubs for Team Liquid. Blaber's in the area, and both of the teams had rotated their AD carry supports up here, but looks like it's going to be a full 6 this game as well.
Yeah, should be able to grab it. And while I think a lot of people are going to be quick to say, well, APA doesn't have any legs to stand on when he's trash talking against Jojo, Blaber himself came out and was saying they have had the worst results against TL in scrims. This was on JLXP, talking about how strong TL is as a scrim team. Doesn't always translate. Even when they were 8th in spring last year, people were telling me this team is the truth. They are good. They will get there. But it didn't pan out in spring. In summer, they definitely improved. They scaled up a lot. I thought we saw real improvements from Yeon in particular. We have to remember, though, this is APA's first full split in the LCS. He played, I think it was 7 games in the regular season before going to playoffs and then into Worlds for TL. So he is definitely pretty green still in the LCS. And I think as a result, a lot of the criticism feels a bit unfair towards him. And it feels like people are kind of piling on a bit too much for, where he is in his career.
Yeah, I think it's fun because he's also he's a real trash talker. So it's fun when you kind of create those rivalries, and some people are heroes at one point, then they're villains the next weekend type of thing. And it seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he is actually willing to play either side of that. And he also embraces so some of the times when it backfires.
You convinced me. He does deserve that trash talk because he is a trash talker. Get in there, flame him in all time.
I mean, yesterday is an example I'm talking about where it was brought up in the interview with APA after the game about Palafox tweeting out, hey, you got to call me daddy because I always demolish you. And APA in the interview is very humble. He's like, you know what? I can't say anything right now because Palafox is actually the mid laner.
Because my father is watching Palafox. He would be disappointed.
Just got a DNA test back. Turns out.
And Palafox is the father.
That's what the P stands for in APA.
There you go. I think we're going to say Palafox. It works for both, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, He's definitely been really, crushing that matchup. AP, I think, has been a lot closer against the other mid laners in the league, even some of those top ones. And we'll see how he can perform here throughout the rest of the game as we are 12 minutes in. It's been a quiet one. The grubs have gone TL's way. The early dragon has gone TL's way. The gold just about dead even. And I will say this is 3 straight games now where it feels pretty quiet early on for C9. Their game on Friday, I want to say it was 30 minutes in. It was like 0-1, which I am kind of confused as to why it feels like all of a sudden C9 games have gotten so passive, because they have always seemed like a much more kind of push the tempo style team. They're not always all out aggression, but they're usually down to scrap a lot more than it feels like they have been this weekend. So I wonder, are they losing a little bit of that confidence, getting a little bit too careful?
In this one, I can see it because, of course, they have the Lillia. And if your Lillia Lee Sin matchup and you're power farming away for the Lillia, that does feel nice. Him and Jojo both have been outpacing in CS. They have given up an alarming number of grubs, but they keep their focus on the bottom half of the map and the dragons here.
It's always interesting to me, though, right? Because I totally agree with you, with the Lillia, with the Orianna. But then when I look down to the Lucian in the bot lane, and you're playing against an Aphelios Lulu, and you're kind of playing just even, and they've lost a bunch of plates, it's like, well, is that the way you want to play it? I'm not sure. Maybe they can really execute and show us, how this Lucian can work. But the Lucian, only 1 win in the LCS so far. And it does feel like the Lucian, kind of doesn't fit the theme of the comp, which is play slow, scale, look for 5v5.
And to me, there's so much conversation about Lucian, right? It's a really fun one to examine. I'm actually on the, I feel like, less
on the get good camp?
The less popular side, yeah, that is really enamored with the mid game of Lucian milio. I have been on the receiving end so many times where when you get the Storm Razor and the Rapid Fire and the Milio's got the little bubble, the Dream Maker thing.
The far off look in your eyes. This man's been cold too many times.
Yeah, when you get that burst damage, Lucian jumping in and chunking someone. And if you look at the matchup this time around, if Berserker's able to chunk anyone besides Impact, that will have like a lasting effect for whatever setup that they're trying to get. And that's like the ideal scenario when you're able to get the Lucian milio mid, once you get your double energized items and you get these milio empowered chunks, these jump in moments from the Lucian, that's where it does really get to shine. A lot of times, though, in the LCS so far, of course, it has not shown through.
Yeah, the execution just hasn't been there, right? Because I can see both sides of the camp. It's not hard to see how it can work because you can just watch, Ruler or whoever play it, and you're like, okay, that's how you do it.
Yeah,
but it's hard to be Ruler. That's the other side of the camp, and so far it hasn't really worked out. In LEC, in LCS has not been a winning pick. But you can also look at it through the point of view of, okay, well, Cloud9 is confident that it can make it work, so that's a positive. But we'll see if a fight's going to break out here as there's the calling for Berserker, chunking down Core, but Yeon going to get a trade back. And on the other side, Umti's going forward. Jojo's going to have to flash out. Umti in some trouble, but he will go down as it's Berserker that gets the first blood, but in comes Impact, and Cloud9 are falling. Blaber caught into an awkward spot here as he's going to try to run past APA, but APA satchels him into the team. 3 kills for Team Liquid.
Impact is a monster, okay? We're always so focused on APA is a one trick. Impact's got almost all Udyr games. He had one game where he didn't have to play Udyr. This man comes in and demolishes. Look at him steamroll the team fight. After, it kind of looks like it's going to be a nice start. The ultra mega fire kick from Vulcan does get to the kickback, and they get the first kill. But then Impact comes in, and he just steamrolls, runs over the whole squad here, chases them back as Yeon and APA were able to kite back, and the carries were very safe there for Team Liquid. Yes, Umti did go down, and Cloud9 were able to get that pick up early on into the team fight, but then they got run over, and now you're in a scenario where there's no flash for Jojo, no flash for Berserker either. So it could get fairly dangerous.
And I feel like you're in a spot where you're going to get outscaled and you're down 2K, right? They've lost, every objective except that one dragon, 6 scrubs, they lost the dragon. So it is definitely concerning there for C9. We'll see what they can get done with this Herald, if they can close the gap a little bit. But congratulations, CoreJJ, moving into 10th all time, passing Santorin with over 3,000 assists, I believe it was there.
Yes, sir. Mainstay in the LCS. Starting out super early on as the Aiden carry on Dignitas, but becoming that big component that the Team Liquid dynasty was really, relying on for so many years there in their back-to-back championship days. But it does feel like those are getting further and further away from us.
Quite a while away. And that's the thing, is that TL has been, on this quest to try to kind of reclaim that, right? you know, it was Doublelift with them for all 4 of those championships. They have not won since Doublelift. They've tried a number of different rosters, you know, various different strategies, you know, importing, then going more kind of younger rosters. Now they're here with a little bit of a mix. Obviously, some imports, some veterans, you know, Core and Impact, both world champions, both extreme veterans in the scene. M2's been around for a long while as well. And then Yeon and AP are kind of these young components. And this seems to be more the new era strategy that we're seeing a lot of teams go towards. FlyQuest obviously having great success with it. I think EG was the one who, at least in LCS, first kind of drew that blueprint with Danny and Jojo. And people saw, you know what, that actually works really well. It makes sense. You get a stable base with these veterans who can help to really build up these rookies who have that big potential.
Yeah, and I feel like Impact is literally the best veteran to get for something like that. We'll see if the colossal Titan Impact, the Udyr, is still able to run through and break up these battle lines of Cloud9 as we move forward, because right now it's a very manageable gold lead here for Team Liquid. Not super panicked for Cloud9. They have hit my dream scenario for the Lucian, so if they're not able to make something happen now when you've got your Storm Razor Rapid Fire going and take advantage of some of these milio buffed up windows, then it looks like Team Liquid moving mid-pressure in towards Dragon. Let's try and set up for that one quickly. Rift Herald just popped down though, so they kind of want to deal with that first.
Yeah, Blaber's gonna load up into the Herald here, looking for the charge. We'll be able to get it off. Spawns the extra Void Mites, so a little bit of chip damage does come in. And of course you get the shield when you do pop out of that. Berserker, largely the only person that's kind of been in range though so far has been Impact, and he's getting shielded up by CoreJJ, protected by him. Umti on the side though, getting chased out by Fudge, who does proc the Hyper and chunks him down a little bit, but Umti will heal back up off the camp.
Yeah, nice use here on the Trinity Force Gnar. Gets a decent amount of damage to allow them the first entry.
As well, so he's trying to go fast.
He will go quite fast. Hey!
The shockwave onto Yeon. Yeon in some trouble, but does have the ulti with the red gun to heal it back up. Plus, the wild growth there comes through from Core. Fudge is in the Mega Gnar, sitting on the side. Blaber looking for Umti, who has been able to heal it back up. The fight will dissipate. Is this just trade back and forth? Both teams heavily trying to play for mid lane prio as they want to be able to move over to the Dragon, but it's Fudge now with no Mega Gnar bar. And some key ultimates have been expended from Cloud9.
Yeah, I think this one's got to be TL Dragon stamping their name all over it. Number 2 will get picked up as Impact gets visual confirmation. Blaber will not get close to stealing it. He might secure his Gromp, but that's it. And these are the types of plays we're talking about.
Looking. Blaber gets connected onto. He's going to be able to walk it out.
Yeah, nice little chunk there. They finish up on the tower. Impact collects the wave on bottom side too. Just feel like TL keep on getting these little marginal wins here to push back on Cloud9 and increase their lead.
Yeah, they do. And again, you know, we have this kind of strongest point of the game almost for that Lucian that you were talking about. And it's resulting in Cloud9 having to give up the objective. You know, it's no massive loss, but Yeon has not even done his 2 items. You know, the big spike for Aphelios generally comes on 3, right? You know, that's what you're looking towards. So Yeon now has the IE completed. When he gets in his PD, his Hurricane, whatever, BT, whatever he's going to be going for, it's kind of dealer's choice. That is where the Aphelios really starts to go crazy and generally run over the Lucian.
And I got to wonder, unless Blaber gets a really good sleep, I feel like Cloud9, their battle lines might just fall apart. You mentioned the Boots of Swiftness for Fudge. If he's Trinity Force Boots of Swiftness, like there's no armor there to deal with this Aphelios. And there's also no MR currently extra either. So he could take a substantial amount of damage. So it'd have to be like a really nice sleep into Mega Gnar and just use CC as your, you know, stability for your team fight rather than actual tankiness.
And it's a good bit of chunk there onto CoreJJ, but again, it's not going to amount to much. Core does go for the Mikhail's Rush, this time clearly in answer to the sleep that Blaber would be looking for to be able to cleanse that away from one of his teammates. But it's tough to approach against this kind of a composition because there's Satchel disengage, there's Umti going to be able to kick you away, there's Impact who's just going to be running and playing bodyguard, trying to slow you up with that Unleashed Phoenix, with the stuns, you know, all of these different things, and now the Mikhail's to deal with as well, and the shields and heals from, you know, CoreJJ. So I do think it's a difficult ask for Blaber to be that primary engage on the Lillia, but they're clearly not winning through sides. They're not really winning in setup. It kind of feels like they're just slowly bleeding this out, and this has been, you know, a great recipe for success for TL. It's this sort of game state that they have been able to get all of their wins in.
Yeah, I think that the pathway is definitely clear here for them. because especially Impact, who has had a really good presence in side lanes, is also going to be built for team fights here. Once he finishes his Frozen Heart and what could be, well, they're just going to demolish this tower, so no problem there. And then it's going to, be whatever little bit of extra magic resistance he wants, either the Canic Rookhorn, or even in this case, you actually do have other forms of shielding. Almost always you're like, Canic Rookhorn, no brainer, but Spirit Visage has decent value for Udyr with a Lulu on the team if you want to go there, but they haven't nerfed Canic Rookhorn yet, so.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of strong MR items, right? There's Canic Rookhorn, there's Hollow Domain, or whatever it is, the like, Magic Resist Sunfire Cape. I always forget the name of that one for some reason.
Hollow Radiance.
Hollow Radiance. I always call it Hollow Domain. I'm not sure why. There's also Force of Nature, which is still really good if you want the move speed. So there's lots of options here. Berserker, again, trying to look for a bit of a chunk here onto APA, but not going to find too much. As he is trying to stay aggressive, is trying to find those windows, but it's always just been little chips. It's never really been that snowball. And we have seen this in a number of Lucian games. I think back to week 1, some of the Lucian games that Wild Turtle played, where he was constantly aggressive, constantly finding good chunks, constantly finding pressure, but it was never, the kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. It was never able to push it over that edge to where instead of a chunk, it's a kill and an objective, and that's really the problem. So I think Cloud9 have got to be sweating a little bit at this point. They've gotten very little done. It's TL, with the objective lead, with the gold lead, with the scaling lead, and it's going to be Cloud9 who has to find ways to outplay without really great engage or great setup.
So I just got a little ping from production that they've decided they're going to start a poll for who do you want to get interviewed if Team Liquid win. So we're at the stage where production is like, let's just throw that one out there. Just in the scenario where it possibly does.
What's your vote? Do you want some more APA trash talk after if he wins?
100%.
All right, well, it's got to be APA.
I love following, the drama, the characters that are making it real spicy. I mean, if I was like, oh, what has been the most critical piece to a lot of these TL wins? I would say, hey, let's hear from Impact. But Impact's so nice. I feel like it'll be more fun.
Nice guys finish last. Is that what you're telling me, Kobe?
Yep.
That's rough. All right, Blaber, maybe in a little bit of trouble there, but Umti not going to be able to have quite enough damage to finish him off. Does use the ulti, and of course that Thunder Sky has kind of taken the place of that core item for at least in this season. Fudge about to mega out, but TL again just going to be looking to wait this out, then start up the dragon. The Mega Gnar timing not great from Fudge because I don't think TL's going to give you a window. Blaber's chunked low. This is already looking like it's going to be another TL Dragon because now the Mega Gnar expires. You just go down, have Umti started up. The rest of your squad can play 4-man wave clear mid. Blaber's into his jungle just to wave clear. So without really much of anything happening, C9 lose another Dragon.
Yeah, Fudge is a mini Gnar with no resistances, and it's easy for this poke damage here. APA throwing out the bombs. Yeon with his green gun sniping him. Fudge is down to 60% HP. They won the Dragon. Yeah.
Shockwave amounts to almost nothing there as it only hits Impact. I think he was trying to clip Yeon and maybe look for something, but yeah, Cloud9 very slowly just bleeding out of this game. TL dominating the objectives.
Just wait till the Canic Rookhorn is done. Impact already is kind of running free in their faces, and it doesn't look like it's going to change too soon.
Yeah, I don't think it is whatsoever. As Jojo going to be pushed back. Fudge charging out the Mega Gnar, but again, the rest of his team has had to go back to base, so it's just not really going to amount to much.
I was hoping Umti would just take that for fun. Honestly.
Blaber in trouble. Nice kickback from Umti. We'll see if Blaber can find his way out of this one. He has to flash over the wall, is going to be able to escape, but they're just going to start the Baron. You just force the flash. There's no blast cone. There's no real way for him to get in easily. Yeon has the white gun, so he's going to be able to crush through this very quick. Fudge has no Gnar bar. And the Shockwave isn't quite up, if I can see that from Jojo. It will be up very soon, though. Cloud9 cannot afford to give this up, or I think this game is pretty much toast. Jojo walking all the way in. It's getting low, though. Berserker on the side, trying to chunk them down. Fudge has been taken down about 15% HP, though. This is getting really risky. They don't want to quite finish it in Blaber's face, but they're just getting chipped down now on the side. APA in some trouble, but Jojo mistimes the Shockwave out of the stasis, and APA is going to be able to survive as a result of it. Fudge flashes forward, and Fudge gets killed by APA, who's winning in the 1v2. TL secure the Baron, and APA embarrasses Jojo and Fudge. The mistiming on the Shockwave from Jojo costs them big time, and TL running away with this one.
Can I say, chatters, please vote now. Please, APA, please. I want to hear it. Especially after that play. That interview is going to be juicy.
Okay, and this stat is maybe going to blow my mind a little bit here. It might blow yours. Last time C9 lost 4 games in a row, which would happen if they lose this game. Summer 2016, 2,768 days ago. That's 7.5 years since Cloud9 lost 4 straight in the LCS. And they are now very close to doing that right here with the super team.
They chose a good picture for that stat.
They look sad.
They did.
Yeah.
It sounds like they told them, hey, we're going to take this picture of your team and then we're going to put it on this stat about you losing 4 games in a row. Because their faces did not look happy. And Cloud9 definitely did not expect this. We did not expect this. We were talking at the very beginning of the game, and you showed the graphic of all the predictions preseason.
I mean, this was everyone saying that, though. Casters, analysts, coaches, players, everyone.
Yep. And Team Liquid looks like they've got the power here. Baron buffed up. They basically just stalled out Cloud9 at the Baron, continually winning in poke damage, continually increasing their HP advantage at the Baron until finally they get the win on APA versus Jojo and Fudge. Now APA is level 16 coming back too. It's also really easy for Team Liquid to siege. With Aphelios, with the Ziggs here, tower damage is not a problem. They're going to play on mid lane and top lane right now, splitting between the jungle. Yeon will annihilate this turret. APA blows it up. And they're going to keep on moving forward here. A full minute left on this Baron.
An impact pushing forward here onto Jojo. Will just be to harass him away and allow Umti to finish that off. You know, they have a great comp for knocking down towers. They also have 6 scrubs, which is just going to make it that much easier. And Cloud9 relatively light on wave gear besides Jojo. CoreJJ will get pushed back again by the culling, but it's just really not amounting to much. A couple autos and an execution could be it, and the TP's coming in. This could be the last stand for Cloud9. They're trying to step up, but Berserker's already chunked so low. In comes Fudge. He's going to scoop APA against the wall. Can they burst them down? The shockwave's going to connect, but there's the wild growth. There's the shield, and there's Jojo on the run as Impact is pushing forward on the Blaber. Blaber in trouble. Umti connects with a Q. Ward hops forward, trying to finish him off, and there's the kick flash on a Jojo. Jojo is down, and Cloud9 are crumbling. TL in the base, but his Cloud9's no longer. Yeon flashes forward. There's another kill for TL. It's a double for the Aphelios as Liquid are marching on the Nexus, looking to put the finishing touches on this one, trying to finish the first half of the split 4-3 and hand Cloud9 their 4th straight loss.
Cloud9 pushed out of their own base at the end. TL will secure their victory. They will secure APA's predicted 3-4 score for Cloud9 in the LCS, pushing them down. And I believe APA also won the chat vote for the interview. So stay tuned for that one.
Yeah, Cloud9 going to be ending the first round robin 3-4. A far cry from where they hoped they would be at this point. TL ending it on a bit of a high note, 4-3 for them. The inverse record's there, so they will move up those standings. Only a couple games back of those top teams. I believe they're 1 game back, or maybe even tied with Energy briefly, because Energy hasn't played yet today.